Oh my goodness. Where should we start? How about Duke? Duke destroys Baylor, hits 12 threes along the way. Tyrese Proctor, 7 trays. Blue Devils are more than just Cooper Flag. That's a really good Duke Blue Devil team. How about Arkansas? Those two coaches spent the whole night, A, coaching their team, B, screaming at the referees. Arkansas took out St. John's. What a whipping. St. John's only shot 28% from the floor, and yet they own the Big East Conference. They won 30 plus games, and they shot 28% against Arkansas. Michigan beats Texas A&M. The Bigs, Vlad Golden, Dennis Wolf combined for 36 points and 20 rebounds as they had eliminated the Aggies. That was not the same Michigan team that played San Diego State, I'll tell you that. Houston, Gonzaga, LJ Cryer, Emmerich Sharp, just phenomenal, combined for 42 points. This Cougar team is really good. And Houston's defense really put a cap on Ryan Nembhard, Gonzaga's guard. Tough way for Gonzaga to go out, but they lost to an elite team. Florida Gators took out UConn. Wes Clayton, I kept telling you, this is a really good basketball player. Walter Clayton, I should say. So the Gators eliminate the Huskies, ending their bid to make it 3 in a row. And walking through the tunnel, Dan Hurley just has lost his marbles again and just castrated the referees during the course of the game. He'll get a letter from the NCAA, I am sure. And in Kentucky, boy, are they good and are they deep, and they hung on to beat Illinois. Shooters, steals, firepower. That's a really good UK basketball team led by a former Aztec also. So I was pretty impressed along the way. Then Colorado State nearly upset Maryland. I could have never in my wildest imagination thought the Rams were a bunch of grinders could do that to the Terrapins, but the Terrapins got a last-second fadeaway jump shot with no seconds on the clock to get the win. And then New Mexico scared the holy hell out of Tom Rizzo and Michigan State, although the Spartans kind of put the lid also on Michigan State's star guard. But the Rams and the Lobos kind of hung in there. I kept looking at the scoreboard and said, how the heck can they be up by 9, up by 4? But again, it turned out to be a 48-minute game, and they couldn't control it. But first weekend was really cool. So now we go on to what I call the Southern Fried Sweet 16, because that virtually the entire tournament of teams from down south. I don't want to say this, but I'm going to say this. I think it's the end of March Madness as we used to like it. You know what? There's not much difference between the number 1 team and the number 8 team in the poll or in the seedings. They all got firepower and talent. The reason there's not much difference any longer is the big boys, John, are buying all the top players in the mid-majors. And at the end of the day, I don't think we're going to see mid-majors in the Sweet 16, the Elite 8, or the Final Four. I think the era of George Mason and Butler, and to a degree San Diego State, is not going to exist if these rules, the NIL and the outrageous transfer portal, just continue to operate the way they do. Because the big boys are coming in every year and they are taking the elite player from the mid-majors and putting them on their roster as a starter or as a backup off the bench. So I hate to say March Madness is about to change, but I think today we have now seen it change. So what you think of the games, and am I right or am I right?
There are like a million storylines up there that you just went through. Just a couple of quick hits. That Arkansas St. John's game was difficult to watch with all the missed shots, but Pitino benched his best player at the end. I mean, what was your take on that?
I was really stunned, and he was angry at the media. There's no doubt that Rick Lewis was 3 for 17 and was really pressing, and he was just really out of his element. But in the final 5 minutes of the game, do you not need the Big East Player of the Year on the floor with your roster, with his teammates? That's the reason you got as far as you got. And he ignored him down the stretch. That was really hard to see, because that kid has done everything that Pitino wanted during the course of this spectacular Big East basketball season. And then Pitino just lost his marbles in the postgame press conference.
I just think it was cool seeing St. John's there again.
Oh, yeah.
Because I remember the golden years of the Big East back in the mid-'80s. Yeah, Chris Small the whole thing. Michigan, those two bigs, the Area 51, I mean, we saw them in the UCSD game, and they were hella good. And by the way, how about the Tritons? I mean, that Thursday night game was magnificent. They came up short. But here, Michigan's guys, they're big, they're tall. First of all, the guy, whoever designed the Houston logo must have designed the Kentucky logo. Have you seen that? They look identical almost. But Kelvin Sampson, he is an interesting dude in his press conferences. He always has something unique to say. And did you see in the defeat of Gonzaga, he made a big deal about how great Gonzaga is and Mark Few, but he really got on the case about pronouncing it the right way. And he says it's Gonzaga, not Gonzaga. I mean, but it's funny is a lot of people still say Gonzaga. It's like Nevada.
That's a contribution.
But it's interesting.
He's an interesting guy. He's an offbeat guy sometimes, very demanding guy. He's got a really good basketball team, and his best guard's playing in the NBA. He's not playing in Houston. He should be on this Houston Cougar basketball team, but that's a really good Houston team, and that's why they, in chunks of time, they were number one in the country too. Like I said, you're going to buy my theory that this is the end of March Madness as we used to know it?
It's different now. And that's always been the love of this tournament is when you see, a St. Peter's like get to the Elite Eight or something like that. And so it's going to be harder. They got to make some adjustments to the transfer portal windows. I mean, I just was reading that there was a player, I can't remember what team, they were in the Sweet 16 and one of their guys just entered the portal. And I'm not sure, is he going to be playing in the tournament now? I mean, so the rules need to be repaired here. But it's been a great tournament. I'm going to ask you about Colorado State and the who are they playing again? It was Maryland. Was that a traveling call at the end, in your opinion?
At the end, it looked like he took 2.5 steps before he landed and then took the fadeaway jump shot.
Mm-hmm.
But the officials didn't see it, and you can't review it.
Isn't it weird, though, with walking? It's almost like we're traveling. We're not necessarily counting steps. We're just feeling the rhythm. And sometimes when the rhythm's disrupted, then we know it's traveling. To me, this one felt like it was in rhythm. I thought it was a legit shot.
You go back and look at it in slow-mo. It looked like he took 2.5 steps before he put on his fit and did the fadeaway. Well, but, the other rule, they must have lost it. The airlines must have lost the rule book. This carry rule, put the ball, drive, especially the guys on baseline drives. Take it, drive to the baseline. All of a sudden, the guy's got it in his hands, and he puts it down and bounces it again, and then he goes up.
Well, they're getting their tips from the NBA on that. Those guys are ridiculous on the bombing.
So, yeah, the rules are a little iffy, and the stoppages for replay at the end of games is a little bit iffy. It really impacts the flow of the game. I know we want to get the calls totally correct in the final 3 seconds, but when everything is being reviewed and then there's foul shots on top of foul shots at the end of games, it kind of takes some of the rhythm out of the game.
So who's going to win it all, in your opinion?
That's too early. Let's just see what happens.
Okay.
All right, so that's all things college basketball there.